as I say, it's round robin kind of, it's a rapid fire questions, right? So not a laboratory work, but then I'm not going to put too difficult questions. I'm going to put some of the interesting questions, and I think then we will take up the questions of the panelists. So how much time pre-COVID situations, pre-COVID business environments, pre-COVID weekends, pre-COVID kind of a scenario, how much time do you think it will take? 2 quarters, 3 quarters? Mr. Kenche, why don't we start with you?
You mean, I mean, how long this situation will go on?
Yeah, how long it will take for us to see pre-COVID kind of situations?
Oh, I think, I mean, it is not in weeks or so. Please talk in months. Okay, for at least our geography, I mean, Pune and Mumbai. So please not be so optimistic. Let us accept the fact. Okay, and let us not assume anything.
Okay.
Not sure. Okay.
Mr. Subramanian, your views.
Yeah, quickly. So my view is that, you know, we immediately after the lockdown was over, because of the fact that we committed essential construction, so things moved back. So we did not really have to put our business on hold, fortunately. However, I have to ask, you know, if answer your question in terms of other aspects like, you know, traveling, social distancing, a lot depends on when the vaccines come out, how successful the vaccines have been. Once we are all assured that this is just another flu, because in earlier we used to have this flu shots and people were back to being normal because people were not scared. The same situation.
So you're saying it's going to be much longer than 2 weeks, 3
yes.
whatever.
Once we
quarters,
have,
not weeks. Of course, it's going to be much longer than 2 quarters or 3 quarters. Kavita, your views?
Okay, I've just looked at the crystal ball and I'm going to give you my views. So I am an eternal optimistic, and I would definitely see maybe by Q3 or at least end of Q3, things should definitely improve, if not earlier, because in the sentiments of, you know, whether it is the National Stock Exchange or the BSE or in the auto sector, Diwali is a big festival for all of us, but I wouldn't really, you know, give a certain date, but definitely by the year end, I would see a lot of changes that we would foresee, definitely for sure. At least there would be, as they say, green shoots coming up on larger hectares of land.
Sure. Mr. Kute, pre-COVID kind of growth and business growth. So how much time do you think it will take?
I think, see, fortunately, we are in the way of coming up with new models. So for us, it is a good time. Unfortunate part for the COVID, but for us, it's a fortunate time because we are late already to bring our new model. So it's a good time. So I think for us, as an industry, we can look for a 6 month time. So maybe
6 months
middle of
time.
quarter. Yeah.
Sure. So my next question is, would there be in lesser jobs in the next 12 months?
Yes.
Mr. Subramaniam, a quick answer. Do you think there will be a lesser jobs in the next 12 months?
Yes, it will be a little bit, the economy will shrink a little bit. We have seen a reduction in our business volumes, but that's also because the government and we work with government quite a bit, and a lot of government projects have gone on hold temporarily in terms of making decision. So the decision making is slow, and that's why there will be a little bit of, you know, slowdown. But I think by the next end of the next quarter or 2 quarters from now, I think I think all of this will come back to normal.
Okay, great. Kavita, my next question is to you. Do you think the average wages will go down? The average wages will go down?
Look at the officers or the staff category, the average wages may stay the same, but it will not go down. But what I definitely see, Sudeep, is different models coming up as far as payment or compensation is concerned. I know of many organizations who are saying, you want to work from home? Yes, you can go ahead. Your work permits you to work from home. But if you work from home, there is a certain, there's a different band to salary. You know, just like saying it's going to be a 20% lesser than what the average salary is. But for me, it's a positive because that would mean I'm enlarging my base of candidates to choose from. And I'm also giving opportunities to folks only in the roles which allows you to work independently under certain guidance or certain instructions, which is going to allow me to reach to the interiors or across national borders to provide such opportunities. But is the average wage going to come down? It might remain stagnant, pretty much like the housing industry, where the sales may have dropped, but the rates are very much the same. So I would say the salary would very much remain, the medians would very much remain the same, but there would be a drop maybe in hiring, with opportunities for internal folks to take up additional roles.
Yeah. Sure. So the next question to you, Mr. Kishore, is that do you see that there's a certain percentage of your workforce will permanently work from home?
Answer is yes. Okay.
Okay.
There are three options because of three situations. One is that we are a core manufacturing company, and we will have we have decided, or there is some functions like finance, HR, or maybe purchase, some percentage. I will say not permanently, but percentage will be vary, because we have decided maybe 30% at office and 70% at home, and then staggered. There will be staggered. Some people will come on staggered day. So this situation will go on, and there will be some position. Maybe permanently you can't say, but like all my top management, we have decided. I mean, because at least they will, at least my colleagues will work from home, and at 80% you can see, more or less.
Sure. Okay. My last question for this session would be to Mr. Kute. Do you see an antibiotic reaction to any arrangement which is permanent in nature, and organizations will look for more fluidity, as in temporary in nature? It could be in terms of staffs, it could be in terms of office leases, or it could be in terms of any other investments, which of course takes a longer time for returns. Do you think organizations will look for more temporary arrangements?
Yeah, definitely. Our organization definitely look for the temporary arrangement in such situation. But it totally again depends on how situation moves. Again, we'll wait for 1 to 2 months how situation comes up, because now the further developments are happening and news are coming that things will normalize and all. So certain things are on hold, but definitely we'll look for, if things not get improved, then temporary arrangement we need to look in other options.
Okay. So I think we have got a good number of questions. So I'm going to read out those questions and kind of get into answering them. So one of the question is been placed by Mr. Durga Prasanna. Are companies doing anything specific? Are companies doing anything specific to stimulate the demand segment of the economy? Already government has ruled out a lot of financial stimulus packages for supply side of the economy. Unless there is a demand, we will continue to get stagnant. So is there any specific, which is with respect to the demand sector? What do you think is your view, Mr. Subramanian?
See, it is right now, of course, we have to wait for the stimulus. We've heard of the stimulus package, but have you seen the full impact of stimulus? I am not too sure as yet. Have the decision making from the government, because we work a lot with the government on a lot of our projects. Has the government's started making, and this is exactly what I told a few minutes back, that we are seeing a little bit of slow down, because a lot of our projects are on hold because the government has not making decisions to release funds, release new projects. So while on one side we are hearing about stimulus, I've not seen the full impact of stimulus as yet. I mean, it is not something. The migrants are still going back to their home locations, and we'll have to look at ways to get them back to the city, and that is possible only when the economy picks up in full swing. At this moment, there is a little bit of a slowdown, which is going to be predicted for this quarter. And I think the full impact of it will be seen only by the beginning of next quarter, when things normalize a little bit.
Okay. So the next question I'll take it up with Kavita. I think you were talking in terms on this subject as well. So this is with respect to work from home. So in fact, we have questions from both the sectors. We have questions from the HR fraternity, and of course from the employees sector as well. So the question is that how to ensure that the efficiency of employees are consistent when they do a work from home. And typically their mention is consistent across the days, which means a Monday to a Friday, one. Second is employees have put forth that the number of hours of work has increased, which is in work from home, but somehow they have not been able to channelize the number of work that has been done, because I think that the outcome is the only thing that is getting looked after. So in such a scenario, how do you think both sides will act on the work from home aspects?
This is quite a, it's a often debated subject nowadays, work from home. So what I'm going to say is these are my personal views, nothing related to the organizations that I have worked. But in my experience of close to 3 decades, there is a certain amount of social capital that one can build on. And the first time I heard this word was when Narayan Murthy tweeted about it about 3 or 4 months back. And I actually went on Wikipedia to, to look on what is the meaning of social capital. And you need to be able to live in a hybrid model, work a little bit from home, and then come back to office for those interactions and discussions to actually take place. Now, if you don't have those interactions and discussions, you are seated in a place thinking in your mind what you're doing is completely right, and maybe coming on a call in the morning and coming on a call again in the evening to get to the outcome that is expected. But debates, discussions, innovative thoughts, design thinking, all of these can happen only when you are seated in, in a group. Can all of the jobs be done from home? I don't think today India is in a position for all of the jobs to be done from home. Today, when you have Zoom or when you have the Teams as apps, they will only enable you to a certain extent. But what is missing is, when I'm speaking to my teams, there is a whiteboard, and then you kind of draw on the whiteboard for as an example, and then they get it. But when you're on Teams, you try to do the same thing, but it takes a little longer because you have to give an opportunity for everyone to speak. So the reason of working extended hours, one of the reasons is this. But when you are together in a team, the debates are much faster, and you are willing to listen to the other person, before you implement. Again, as an example, when you are working in an office, if you get stuck somewhere, you can run up to your boss to say, okay, this is what I'm doing and I'm kind of stuck. Is this right or is this wrong? But again, in when you are working from home in a remote situation, you really can't do that. You have to pick up the phone. If it's engaged, you have to keep down, then you have to share your screen, then you have to explain what the work is, so on and so forth. Now, these are very tactical issues that I'm speaking about. But work from home will definitely come one day. It is already here. You have 2 organizations, both very large IT organizations, which have different views. One of them says maybe 80% of the population can work anywhere between 20 to 80% of their time work from home. There's another organization that says, an IT organization again, that says we are ready, and in 2025, 80% of our folks can definitely work from home. Now, these views, for them to kind of gel, we again have to focus on IT. If IT is able to give us a platform for productivity measurement and improvement while folks actually sit at home, then I think we should be able to get there very soon.
The only one small input that I had, I think one of the reason that question probably came up is also the stress and fatigue that this work from home is creating for people. And that's because it's becoming very difficult to draw a line. When you're working in an office, you pack off, you leave for the day, and then the remaining part of the evening is yours. But when you're working from home, there's a meeting at about 7 o'clock, and you end up accepting it and getting into that meeting. And that the lines between when do you log off, when do you log in, are blurring a little bit, and that is crossing the stress and fatigue. But I think that will change in a little while. One of the reasons is possibly because there's you cannot go out. There's so many restrictions, so sometimes people just end up working because there's nothing else to do, because you cannot just do anything else. You cannot go out, you cannot go to a movie, you cannot but I think a lot of this will get sorted in a little time. In the next few weeks, it will be fine. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take the next question. Sure, Kavita.
Sorry. So just to respond to Subbu, actually, I loved what Google did. I think May 22nd, they gave everybody off only because of fatigue due to work from home.
Yes.
I don't know how many other organizations do that, but I loved it when I kind of read it. I said an entire day off only because of the fatigue, because we've lost a sense of time. Sunday, there were times when people at home would say, "Hey, today's Sunday, you don't have to." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, today's Sunday." So you actually have lost time.
Sunday is
yes,
not different from Monday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. So my next question, which I think is come out as a common thing, and I would like to place this to Mr. Kishore Kenche. What does the job seekers now today? If you see, job seekers is a bucket of 3-4 people who apparently have lost jobs, people who are actually on sitting on a notice period, and of course there are people who are freshers or probably who have not worked ever. Everybody today is looking for a job. So there were norms like there will be an interview, people will go for the interview, there will be a freshness to it, they will go out, meet people, and there is a new freshness that used to come. I think there used to be motivation and etc. used to come from there itself, right? But that's not happening today. So how would job seekers of different quantum, people who have lost it or people who are going to virtual, I mean, usually, I mean, in due course of time lose it, and the fresh job seekers, how would they keep them motivated?
Yeah, one thing is, I mean, okay, what you say is that, yes, there will be actual feel of, attending interview and getting, learning what is all happening. That feel definitely is missing for sure. However, for us, I mean, it has been a very common phenomena for quite some time, okay, because we are, okay, we have been conducting interview on Skype, like the business Skype and all. It is a common phenomena. However, in certain cases, whenever it is required, we call candidate in person. So partially it is already been happening without COVID, okay. However, now bifurcating in between fresh and experienced people, yes, I mean, there is a, some, okay, benefit to the experienced people because we are working on virtual basis. So I can't take an, risk of, hiring fresh people. So there is a small risk because, and then second is availability. So the availability of the market is more, and then yes, I mean there's a risk, okay, taking fresh people. However, I mean as a policy we have kind of GET policy and all, so that will keep on going for sure, and we have done it this GET hiring through virtual process completely in May. So that will not stop. But however, I mean for senior position or maybe as a regular position, we will definitely, I mean we will hire experienced people. And second, about feeling is 50-50%, I'll say, because even we have hired a DGM level, GM level person only on virtual interview. So I don't think so. I mean, okay, this will impact a lot. But yes, there is a disadvantage with fresh people. If you ask me, the kind of feel we will get it one person.
Sure.
Then we are losing.
Great. Mr. Subramaniam, your views, how would the job seekers of multiple buckets keep themselves motivated?
The motivation, again, like I said, there's something called the self-motivation and there's something called the organization, which can extend, what organization is doing. I think we've already covered that in bits and, in bits and pieces and through different questions about what different steps organizations are taking to engage with their employees, what learning opportunities, what reskilling opportunities, some of that. But like I said, these are tough times. These are unprecedented times. Everybody is also going through it for the first time. I think all of us sitting in this panel have gone through something like this for the first time. So I can understand, that if there is a demotivation, some amount of self-motivation is also required. And I think that is something that, whoever is listening to this should probably also think through. I think Kavita already brought up the importance of mental health, and we can probably, organization can also offer counselors, but keeping your motivation alive during this difficult times, a certain amount is also your own. You also have to make that effort.
Sure. Great. So I think that brings to the end of the panel discussion today. Thanks to all the panelists and all the participants. It's a journey that we had started, and the idea is to get the perspective of each industry. And we have done certain sessions where we have got a mix of industries. We have looked for adjacencies. The idea is to get together in a platform where each one of you express that what has been the experiences and what are the steps that is getting taken as a road to recovery. And of course, on the other side, the employees who are working in multiple organizations here and learn from the experts like you, and of course, the vast experience that you bring into the table.